Hi everyone. I couldn't find a video on this next project we're going to be doing, so I decided to try to make my own. So it's a project that I call RoboCup. I'll turn the camera around so you can see how it works. So this is RoboCup. As you can see, it's a clear cup, and I got all these materials from the maker cart. It has a battery pack, a single AA battery, has a motor. I put this little popsicle stick propeller on the end of the motor, and it has 3 major wires. You'll notice right here, 2 of the wires are connected to the cup with copper tape, and that's going to help conduct the electricity. But it's not complete just like this. In order to make it work, you have to set it on something metal. That completes the circuit, because the circuit is not complete because none of the wires are touching each other. So the aluminum foil will help conduct the electricity from the copper tape and help the motor to run. So I'm going to set it on here to show you. There you go. So once I set the RoboCup down on the aluminum foil, you can tell it's working. Okay. So that's what we're going to be building today. So the materials that we're going to need is a cup, a small motor, and you want to make sure your motor has the little eyes right here with the metal prongs. That's where the wire is going to loop through. You'll need an AA battery and a single pack, and it's important to have these metal tabs on here as well. That's where more of the wire goes through. And I have cut you 3 pieces of wire for this project. I cut you a red piece, a yellow piece, and a blue piece. It doesn't really matter to keep it all color coded. I just thought that would make it a little easier for this demonstration. But they all, even if you exchange them out different colors, they would still work. Some putty so that you can attach the battery pack and the motor to the cup. And then of course at the very end, or well, close to the end sort of, we'll put on the copper tape. And I got all these supplies. These all came from the maker cart except for the copper tape, and the copper tape I bought that through Amazon. So we're going to get started by mounting make sure you put the battery in the battery pack first. Mount the battery pack, use the putty to mount the battery pack, and use the putty to mount the motor. Now the motor, the way you mount it's going to be important. You need this little end out because that's the end that rotates. You want that to be out, and you want this part with the little metal tabs to be up because it's where the wire is going to be strung. You just mount all that on your cup just like that. Now you're going to basically make a circuit. So you need to connect the battery to the motor, and you need to connect the battery to the copper tape that's going to be down here. So first let's connect the battery to the motor. So you simply put and I say simply, but this can be kind of hard. It's sort of like threading a needle. You're going to put the wires through the metal tab on the motor and connect it, kind of twist the wire around there so it's a connection. Then you're going to take the other end of the wire, I'm using the blue wire for this, and connect it to the battery right here on this tab. Make sure I get it in there. And make sure you're putting it through the metal tab. It's kind of tricky, it may take you a few times. And then same way, you got to kind of twist it around. Make sure it's connecting to the metal touching the wire. Okay, there's one wire. Then we need the battery to connect to the motor. No, I'm sorry, I got the battery connected to the motor. We need the battery to connect to the copper tape, and we need the motor to connect to the copper tape, and that'll complete our circuit. So we're going to take this wire and we're going to connect it to the other tab, the other little metal tab on the motor. Like that. Make sure, kind of getting sloppy there. Hope that didn't come back to haunt me. Make sure the metal wire is touching the tab. And then this wire is going to come around and we're going to tape it to the cup with the copper tape. The copper tape is metal, but one side of it's sticky, so you have to take off the paper, which can be kind of tricky to get the sticky part to show. This might take you a while. It's kind of tricky. You might have to, if your neighbor's really good about it, you may have to have them help you. Be real careful. This is very thin metal. It's very delicate. I put my tape on the inside of the cup first to secure it, and then you want to make sure the metal part of the wire is attached to the copper tape like that. So you're making a connection right there. That's connecting the wire to metal copper tape. So we've got our wire that's connected from the motor to the power and from the motor to the copper tape. And now we need it from the power to the copper tape. So we'll take this last piece of wire, we'll put it through this hole and attach it as tight as you can. And then we'll get another piece of copper tape. And Mrs. Lewis is going to be cutting the tape for you. So let her do that, because like I said, it's really delicate and we don't want to waste. It's kind of expensive too. We don't want to waste it. That was a little easier. All right, we're going to add this tape. Make sure it's real fragile. Don't let it stick to itself. And remember, I said put it on the inside first. That'll secure it. Then set your wire down and secure the tape. Make sure that connection is good. Press it with your fingers. All right, so theoretically, if I set this on the aluminum foil, it should work. If I've connected all the wires correctly, let's see. And I haven't put anything on the top yet because I'm just going to test it. Ah, yes. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's humming. So I'm going to, there's lots of, pick whatever you want to add for the propeller from the makerspace. The first time I did a RoboCup, I used just a piece of foam. It didn't last very long. It kind of flew off. On this one, you can see I did a popsicle stick, but that was really challenging trying to make that hole in the popsicle stick. I don't know if you can see it, but actually split the popsicle stick and had to tape it back together. I'm going to try this one. This time I'm going to try attaching this is just a piece of an egg carton. So I'm just going to try to attach that and see what happens. Something you need to keep in mind is it has to clear the bottom. It can't be too long because it'll hit the table when it starts spinning. So let's just see what happens when I add this little bit of egg carton. Oh, fail. Oh. What if I added maybe a little bit more putty? Let's just add a little putty. I don't know if this is going to work. And notice my wire slipped out of my copper tape. No. So I think it might be best to experiment with that a little bit. Maybe try to come up with, maybe even just using paper, or maybe a piece of cardboard maybe. I don't know. The propeller has me perplexed. Not sure what to do about that. Yeah. So I don't know. The wood one might be the best. Seems to work pretty good. If you need help making that hole, I used a screwdriver and a screw, and make sure you do that. If you're going to try to drill that hole with a screwdriver and a screw, make sure you use the tabletop in the makerspace that has the wood on it. Don't do it on the white bee tables. So, all right. So there you have it, a little RoboCup for you. It's kind of challenging to get the wiring figured out, kind of challenging to make the propeller. Good luck with that. I know you guys can invent some really interesting things, and Mrs. Lewis will help you figure it out. I'm looking forward to seeing pictures and videos of how it all worked out. So thank you. I'll see you soon.